Biden and Trump's presidential debate was a disaster. In one corner, we had a convicted felon that's known to be a real-life Pinocchio, and in the other corner, we had a dementia patient that forgot everything he said every 5 seconds. No matter who you think did better, it seems like America's cooked, especially after both of their performances on TV. But how did such an important debate go so bad? And why was it a disaster? Before getting to the specifics, can we just talk about how this debate sounded so dumb? They're acting like little kids, especially with the name calling. When Biden said,
"You're the sucker, you're the loser,"
it was giving a 5-year-old fighting at the playground trying to come up with a comeback that fumbled. Though he's not entirely wrong, I guess. Biden also said Trump had,
you have the morals of an alley cat.
When he called out Trump for having
sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant.
I mean, Biden might not be wrong about that, but at that moment, it sounded like he was trying to use anything he could to save his horrible performance. And why were they just randomly talking about golf during this? Trump said,
"You have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it." Which
is true, but sometimes I wonder what goes on in there. Biden said he'd 1v1 Trump in golf, but Trump couldn't hear what he said.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
I know that comeback was used for something else, but that's a good comeback. Biden could learn how to make comebacks from him. Okay, but my rant aside, Trump and Biden had actual problems they talked about. While talking about the problems in the debate, there's some key qualities that they fumbled on and got cooked by the other. So let's start with Biden. First of all, Biden sounded boring and unenthusiastic while he was speaking. No joke, when I was watching the debate for this video, I kept falling asleep multiple times because it was so monotone.
Total ban on the...
Who would take a president seriously if they spoke so quiet and looked like they didn't have confidence? I get that Biden's old and was sick during this, but he should have at least tried to raise his voice for something serious like this. So far, it's not looking good for Biden. Also, he kept slurring, stuttering, and forgetting what he was saying. To quote Donald Trump again,
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
A lot of people joke around and say that he has dementia, and while dementia is much more complicated than memory loss or forgetfulness, Biden clearly struggled with trying to get his messages across and basically became a meme for the internet. He really fumbled when people heard him say skibbity.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have.
I guess Biden apparently loves skibbity toilet now. He'll fit right in with Gen Alpha. And that's a joke, by the way. Please don't get too offended by that. I know that's another stutter, but a lot of people are spreading the fact that he said a brain rot word and have another reason to not vote for him. Combined with the fact that tons of Democrats are now nervous after this debate, it seems like Biden basically sold. But it's not like Trump was perfect either. I know a lot of people are memeing Biden, but Trump's not safe. While he sounded more confident and his speech was clear and kind of funny, there's still some things he failed at. Trump's main issue was he kept dodging the questions. While Biden dodged some questions, Trump kept dodging almost all of them. In this clip, the moderator asks if Trump,
"Will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?"
What does Trump say? He first goes back to an issue that was supposed to have been finished already, which makes the moderator repeat the question. And his answer was him saying that,
"I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air," and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever. During my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever.
Notice how he didn't say a plan to resolve this crisis, nor did he say anything about addressing the problem. He's just over here bragging about his accomplishments that are likely false and disregards what's being asked. In this clip, the moderator asked,
"Want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?"
What does he say?
Not going to drive them higher.
Tariffs on goods make it more expensive to import them, which will raise prices for the consumers because it costs more to get them into the country. And that money just goes to the government and rich businesses. Trump then talks about tax credits and Afghanistan. Again, he's ignoring the question. Not good for a country with so many issues. The most important thing in this debate was the candidates' claims and responses, but was it all accurate? Hell no. It's politics. It never is. In the next section, we're gonna look at some of the claims they made and why they're not accurate. We'll start with Biden first. One false claim Biden made was,
"The $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400.
In an AP News article, it said out-of-pocket insulin costs for older Americans on Medicare were capped at $35 in the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act that President Joe Biden signed into law. Biden regularly overstates that many people used to pay up to $400 monthly. People with diabetes who have Medicare or private insurance pay about $450 yearly prior to the law, according to a Department of Health and Human Services study released in December 2022. Biden might have gotten months confused with shots, so his claim that an insulin shot was $400 sounded so absurd. He greatly exaggerated the supposed cost of insulin, which made some people watching think it's another sign of his memory loss, and it's time for him to step down. Another false claim he made was,
By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed me endorsed my position.
NBC News states the National Border Council has proudly endorsed Donald J. Trump for President of the United States. I don't get why Biden would lie about this and the border. Maybe to sway Republicans into voting for him, but that doesn't make sense. Then again, nothing in politics makes sense. The last false claim he made was,
Truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world.
in an AP News article, 13 US troops died during a suicide bombing at Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul, Afghanistan. Unfortunately, we lost 13 service members on August 26, 2021 during his presidency. I don't know if you forgot about this incident or didn't want to mention it, but the sad reality was that some soldiers lost their lives during part of his presidency. Now let's look at Trump's false claims. I'm not going to cover all of them because he lied too much, so I'm going to list some of them. One thing Trump claimed was that the January 6th crowd was
A relatively small number of people that went to the Capitol, and in many cases were ushered in by the police.
If you've seen the news, you've seen the riots that have happened and all the chaos that it caused. There were thousands of people breaking in and fighting with the police. Why would the police voluntarily let them into the Capitol? That doesn't make sense. Trump also posted this tweet. When Biden won the election, Trump basically threw a tantrum and demanded multiple recounts. When they kept confirming he lost, he got angry, and these tweets basically signaled Trump supporters to come out on January 6th to bring justice and make America great again. Even though Pelosi claims some responsibility for not being able to control the rioters, it still doesn't justify Trump's actions that caused this. Even though on Twitter he said to peacefully protest, that was a few hours after the chaos had started. Another false claim he said was,
They're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth.
the afterbirth part is false. An AP News article states that infanticide is criminalized in all states, and no state has passed a law legalizing killing a baby at birth. And if a woman gets an abortion later in pregnancy, it's usually for medical reasons. But even if there is nothing wrong with the woman or the baby, a woman should still have the right to get an abortion when they want to. Politicians shouldn't control that. Sometimes a woman's not ready to be a mom yet, and even if they realize it's late, they should have that option still. The last false claim I'm going to talk about is the claim he made about Biden and immigration. Trump claimed that Biden was one that
Kill people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in.
the claims Trump is making about illegal immigrants are false. He claims that countries are emptying their prisons and mental institutions and sending them to the US, but there's no evidence to support that. Also, he claims that immigrants are the cause for crime surging, but a PNAS study shows that undocumented immigrants have substantially lower crime rates than native-born citizens and legal immigrants. For example, native-born citizens in Texas are over 2 times more likely to be arrested for violent crimes, 2.5 times more likely to be arrested for drug crimes, and over 4 times more likely to commit property crimes than undocumented immigrants. There's also no data that shows a spike or correlation between an increase in crime with an increase in illegal immigration. I don't support illegal immigration, but for Trump to falsely blame illegal immigrants for causing an increase in crime is stupid. There's a lot more false claims he said, but I'm not trying to make this video too long. Either way, this debate could have gone so much better on both sides, but sadly, it fumbled and became entertainment for international viewers who had a good laugh. No matter what side you were on for the debate, it ended up being a disaster for the most part. These two presidents are very old and don't know what they're doing, so regardless who wins, America would be screwed one way or another. There's no other candidates that could replace or have a chance to compete with them, so you just have to pick the lesser evil. But I want to know what you guys think. Who do you think did better and why? Do you agree with what I said? Is there anything I missed? Let me know in the comments, and just make sure to be respectful. But if you enjoyed this video or found it interesting or informative, please like and subscribe for more video documentaries. It also really helps me out. I'm DanDaSmartie, and thank you for watching.